Alex was a young teacher from a wealthy family in Beijing, and he had a girl he raised like a fragile porcelain doll. She was pampered, spoiled, and always crying, always disappearing at the worst moments. Because of her, Alex missed our wedding and even the birth of our daughter. Later, I left the country with our child, at the exact same time his precious girl went missing. We each headed in opposite directions. And when it came time to choose, he went after her, the weepy little girl who'd always come first. 2 months passed before he finally remembered to call me. "You've been on vacation long enough. Don't you think it's time to come back?" he said, as if nothing had happened. But Sophia, our daughter, picked up the phone before I could answer and said with a soft but firm voice, "I already have a new daddy. Don't come and ruin it." I'd been married to Alex for 5 years, yet I remained the laughingstock of our entire circle. He abandoned me on our wedding day, vanished during the delivery of our child. All for that girl who cries over everything. Her name is Lennon. Orphan Alex took in years ago. They call themselves uncle and niece, but with the way he dotes on her and how she clings to him, everyone knows it's something else entirely. On the day of our wedding, Luna conveniently ran away, leaving behind a handwritten note. "Uncle, I've thought it over. I don't know how to face the married version of you, so I'm leaving. Please don't look for me." How could Alex possibly ignore that? Even when she was still in school, he had to know where she was every second. So, of course, with her missing, he refused to entrust anyone else to find her. He had to go himself. What was supposed to be a glamorous, media-covered wedding ended up being just me, standing alone. I couldn't leave, though. My family's business was in trouble back then, and Alex's family had stepped in to help. This marriage wasn't just about Lovey, it was bound by mutual interest. I had no choice but to stay and smile through the humiliation, forcing out apologies to guests while explaining that Alex had rushed off to help a younger relative. But everyone knew. Everyone knew what kind of relative Luna really was. She was just a girl Alex adopted from an orphanage when he was 20. They shared no blood. She was already 18, entirely capable of taking care of herself, and had already destroyed several of Alex's previous relationships. Time and time again, it was clear Luna meant more to him than any woman ever could. People whispered it behind closed doors, but no one dared confront Alex directly. Instead, they laughed behind my back. I became the target of every dinner party joke. "Victoria can't even handle a teenage girl. How does she dare call herself the most elegant woman in Beijing's elite? Once that girl grows up a little more, Victoria will be out of the picture." I've endured 5 years of those rumors. 5 years. Our daughter is 5 now, and not once has Alex brought up divorce. But the one constant is that Luna is always his top priority. I will never forget the day I gave birth to our daughter. I was screaming in pain, crying his name, hoping he'd walk through that door. But he never came. He didn't see the agony on my face. He didn't see our daughter take her first breath. That very day, he was at Luna's graduation. He gave her a bouquet of flowers, smiled in front of the crowd, and was even invited to give a speech. People were envious of Luna. Everyone said she was Alex's most beloved. I've forgiven Alex many times over the years. But the one thing I could never forgive was how he neglected our daughter for Luna. Sophia is 5 now and goes to kindergarten, yet her father has never picked her up, never dropped her off. I brought it up to him once, and he brushed it off. "I'm busy. I have a company to run. That's why we have a driver and a nanny." But when Luna was in school, he made time. Every day, he personally took her to and from school. What was so different back then? I confronted him that night for the first time. "If you love that girl so much, why don't you divorce me and marry her? What kind of disgusting relationship do you two even have?" His hand flew across my face before I could finish. It was the first time he had ever hit me. 5 years ago, when I was screaming in labor and cursing him for being late, he only held my hand and begged for forgiveness. But this time, because I spoke about Luna, he lost control. "Are you out of your mind?" he shouted. My cheek stung, but my pride burned hotter. I slapped him right back. He covered his face, stunned, then stormed out and slammed the door behind him. He didn't return that night. The next morning, the news reached my parents in Los Angeles. They were furious. My father, a once proud businessman now retired, had already moved most of our family's assets overseas. At first, marrying Alex was a strategic alliance. But now, there was no more need for it. "How much longer will you keep living like this?" they asked me over the phone. "Sophia's still young. If you want out, now's the time." I stared at my swollen cheek in the mirror. My resolve began to crack. "Don't worry," I said quietly. "I've already contacted a lawyer." 5 years. I could say I wasted them on a dog. While the lawyer and I drafted the divorce terms, Alex suddenly called. "What time does Sophia get out of school today? I'll go pick her up." I laughed. "She got out an hour ago. She's already had dinner." He was silent. After a long pause, just when I was about to hang up, he finally said, "Victoria, about yesterday, I'm sorry." I felt nothing. "Okay," I said. "Got it." What use was an apology now? The damage was done. But Alex didn't give up. The very next day, he picked Sophia up from school on time. They walked in the door laughing, hand in hand. Sophia beamed. "Daddy said we're going on a family vacation," she told me. "I want to see the big desert. I want Daddy to carry me while we ride camels. Please, can we?" It was only 2 days until summer break, and the trip wouldn't interfere with the divorce. I didn't have the heart to let her down. "Of course," I told her. Sophia jumped with joy. Alex looked relieved, too probably, hoping to wash away the guilt. But that family trip never happened. Alex broke his promise. Luna had gone missing again this time, in Switzerland. Of course, he had to go after his precious girl. That morning, Sophia sat on the front steps with her tiny suitcase, crying her little heart out. No one could comfort her. At the same time, my mother's chronic illness took a sudden turn for the worse. Worried sick, I bought tickets and made the decision to take Sophia to Los Angeles with me. Before leaving, I left Alex the divorce papers. I thought it was the end, but we ran into each other again at the airport. I walked up to him and said, "Sophia and I are going to LA. We won't be back, at least not for a year." "Stop joking," Alex said coldly, as if I were just bluffing. The speakers were already announcing final boarding calls for our flights. That's when his assistant ran up to him in a panic. "Miss Luna is on that plane. You can still catch her." Hearing that, his entire demeanor shifted. He turned to me and said calmly, "Take care of Sophia. Come back soon." Then he turned and walked away, like it was nothing. Like he assumed I'd always stay. But Alex, I'm not coming back this time. When the plane descended toward Los Angeles, the sun had just begun to break through the clouds. Yesterday felt like a lifetime ago. A new beginning was waiting, and I welcomed it with open arms. My brother Luis picked us up from the airport. Over the years, he had taken care of our parents and helped run the family business. I'd asked my parents not to tell him anything, so he didn't know that Alex had slapped me. If he did, he probably would have burned Alex's whole world to the ground. Even so, just hearing that I was getting divorced was enough to make Luis genuinely happy. "About time," he said bluntly. "That guy was never right for you. We never should have agreed to that business marriage in the first place." Harsh words, but I couldn't argue. Marrying Alex had been about more than feelings. It was about aligning two powerful families. I had liked him once. He agreed to marry me, and I said yes willingly. But now, I regretted everything. "Luis," I said, "do me a favor." "What is it?" "Find me some men. Strong ones." My brother blinked, confused. "Wait, Sophia's asleep, right?" "Of course. You think I'd say something like that if she were awake? Alex might be a jerk, but he's still her father. I don't want her knowing I'm planning to beat him up." "Don't mention it again." Luis blinked again. "Oh. Sorry, I thought you meant something else." When we got home, I finally breathed. My mom, thank God, was healthy. She'd exaggerated her condition just to get me to come faster. My parents were heartbroken about my failed marriage, cursing Alex every chance they got. They only stopped when Sophia woke up. Their whole mood shifted as they doted on their granddaughter. Then came the topic they really wanted to discuss. "You're not going back, are you?" my dad asked. "Take a break. Help your brother with the business." "Yeah," my mom chimed in. "There are a lot of talented young men working there. You know, dating opportunities." Their excitement was too much to argue with. I knew they'd seen enough of my pain. They wanted to see me smile again. At that moment, Sophia blinked her big dark eyes and looked at them in confusion. "Dating? Are you finding me a new daddy?" "No, sweetheart. That's not what they meant." I panicked, afraid she'd get upset. But to my surprise, she clapped her hands with joy. "Yay! Sophia wants a new daddy." I couldn't help but laugh. Did she even understand what that meant? A new daddy is just mommy's new husband. My classmate already has a new daddy and says he's amazing. "Why's that?" I asked. "Because her new daddy is richer than her old one. He buys her so many toys." She paused, then looked at me seriously. "Mommy, is having money really that important?" I was stunned. It was the first time she'd ever asked me something so deep. I hadn't even decided how to respond when she rested her chin on her hand and answered herself. "I don't think money is that great. My daddy has lots of it." My heart twisted. Children really understand more than we give them credit for. Then Sophia perked up suddenly, grabbing my arm. "Mommy, why don't you get me a new daddy too? One who smiles at you, remembers your birthday, and helps me plan surprises for you." She puffed her cheeks. "Just someone who's not like Daddy. Daddy doesn't do anything. He only makes Mommy sad." Her little eyes were locked on mine. I broke. I cried. "My sweet girl, you alone are enough for me." After a few days of rest, I began my job search. I didn't join the family business, wasn't my field. I'd studied broadcasting, and I'd always dreamed of working in television. It wasn't too late to chase that dream. Sophia even said she wanted to see me on TV because it would be so cool. Then she added, "That way, more cool uncles will notice you." That little mouth of hers. I'd barely started at the station when two potential suitors appeared. One was a blonde, blue-eyed coworker, a second-generation rich guy who claimed it was love at first sight. The other was a Chinese-American former classmate. He'd heard I was divorced and immediately asked me to dinner to confess his long-hidden crush. I was a little flustered. Louise said, "Just look in the mirror. Men love women like you." Funny, he used to tell me I wasn't pretty. "Oh, by the way," he added, "does Alex know? You could really piss him off." As it turned out, Alex did find out. I had been in LA for 2 months. Sophia's summer break had ended. I hired a tutor aligned with the local curriculum and prepped her for school. I figured it was only polite to inform Alex, but he didn't answer my calls. Well, that's what happens when your brother sends people to rough him up. My divorce lawyer told me. I tried meeting with Mr. Alex, but the moment he heard I was representing you, he refused to see me. Didn't even ask why. I still have the divorce papers. I was confused. What was Alex planning? If he wasn't retaliating, why was he so cold? I contacted his assistant directly, but he shut me down too. "You don't need to tell me anything, Mr. Alex doesn't want to hear a word about you right now." "Did they beat him up that badly?" I asked. "Not at first. But then he found out the men weren't sent by Mr. Luis, they were sent by you." "What difference does that make?" "My brother carried it out." I just asked. "Because it was you," he said. "Alex is deeply hurt. I've never seen him like this." Even his mother, the chairwoman, scolded him for acting like a spoiled child. The chairwoman, Alex's mother. I thought he'd be happy. If he truly loved Luna, now he could be with her freely. And if he didn't, well, that wasn't my problem anymore. I would finally be free. From now on, he could spoil anyone he wanted, and I wouldn't care. I expected him to agree to the divorce. But after a long pause, his voice came through the phone low, bitter, almost resentful. "So, you've fallen in love with someone else?" he asked. "Victoria, this is cheating." "Divorce? Don't even dream about it." And then he hung up. The next thing I knew, Alex had met with my lawyer and torn up the divorce papers. I don't know what he did behind the scenes, but my attorney quit, and suddenly no one in the country was willing to take my case. Every law firm said no. The next time I saw Alex, he had come all the way to Los Angeles. That evening, as I was leaving work from the TV station, a coworker who had recently helped me solve a crisis invited me to dinner. I'd been meaning to treat him anyway, so I booked a nice Chinese restaurant in advance. But what I didn't expect was that as we walked out of the station laughing, Alex would be standing across the street, leaning casually against the bollards, dressed in a black coat that made him look even taller than I remembered. That face, the one that had once made my heart race, now made my stomach turn. Several women walking by turned to admire him. But I felt nothing but hate. I pretended not to see him. "Hey, let's grab Chinese," I started saying to my coworker. But before I could finish, Alex had already stepped in front of us, blocking our path. "Victoria," he said coldly, "I'm not going to say it again. Come with me." "Who do you think you are?" I snapped. My coworker, bless his heart, stepped between us to protect me. "She doesn't want to talk to you," he said firmly. He still thought Alex could be reasoned with. But I saw the way Alex's fists clenched, how the veins in his hands bulged with tension. I sighed, stepped forward, and stood in front of my coworker. "If you lay one finger on him, I swear I'll hire someone to beat you again." Alex's face darkened like thunder. "Well done, Victoria," he spat. "You're really doing this for someone else?" His eyes were red. That was Alex. What belonged to him, in his mind, would always belong to him. Even if he didn't want it anymore, no one else could have it either. But guess what, Alex? The world doesn't revolve around you. Since then, he hasn't tried to see me again. At the same time, both of the so-called suitors from the station suddenly stopped asking me out. It wasn't like I couldn't handle it, but I suspected Alex might have threatened them. So I asked one of them discreetly, and the truth came out. "Victoria, honestly, your brother sent both of us," one admitted. "He was worried you'd get depressed, so we pretended to pursue you just to boost your confidence. Also, we're not the only ones. The third one's already on his way." Not 5 minutes later, I met the third oney in the elevator. He was a famous architect named Eric, recently featured as a guest on our show. Tall, handsome, and effortlessly charming, he smiled the moment he saw me. "Miss Victoria, a pleasure to meet you." I blinked. I was just an intern, technically. How did he know my name? "Oh, must be the third guy Louis sent." "It's nice to meet you too," I said quickly. "But can we stop here? You're a guest on our program. I'd prefer not to start any rumors. It could affect my reputation." He looked at me with amusement. "Rumors?" His tone was so deadpan that I wasn't sure if he was joking. As we reached the 8th floor, he turned and said, "Miss Victoria, your badge is crooked." I looked down. My name tag was indeed tilted to the side. So maybe he wasn't sent by Luis after all. Then what did I just say to him? I panicked and frantically hit the elevator button, wishing I could disappear. But then Eric turned around and smiled. "And, Miss Victoria, don't worry. My professional image matters to me too."
Great.
Just great. I never wanted to see him again. I wanted to strangle my brother. During a work break, I immediately called him. "What were you thinking, sending people to flirt with me? Do you think this is some kind of game? Do you know how embarrassed I was?" Luis, as always, was annoyingly calm. "You're my sister. What games can't we play?" "I don't want to play." Okay. I won't send anyone else. Don't be mad, all right?" He paused for a beat and then changed the subject. "Oh, by the way, your future ex-husband came by the company today. Brought a massive business proposal. All he asked was for me to tell you one thing to divorce him." Begging? Alex was begging my brother? I had to admit, that was new. "He's really trying, sis," Luis said. "He's sacrificing a lot. Maybe he finally realizes what he's losing. Maybe you should." "What?" "Consider taking him back." I snapped. "He slapped me, Luis. Hard." The calm facade vanished. "He what?"
Yeah.
"So you still want me to forgive him?" Should I crawl back to him too? What about your business deal? To hell with business, Luis growled. I'm going to make him eat his own teeth. He calmed down after a while.
I shouldn't have said that, sis. I'm sorry.
Whatever you decide, I'm behind you. You'll find someone 100 times better than that guy. That sounded more like it. Don't worry, I grinned. My prince is already galloping across the galaxy to find me. I turned around after saying that dramatic and proud, and there he was.
Eric.
Right in front of me.
Hey.
What a coincidence, he said casually. I was waiting for the elevator. Forgot my earbuds. So you heard all that? From the game playing to the prince thing. Well, at least he's honest. I stepped into the elevator with him. Just us two. It was quiet until he suddenly spoke. I'm 30 and I've never been in a relationship. I blinked. What did that have to do with me? What was he trying to say? Was he weird? I instinctively took a small step away. He continued, when I was a kid, I looked like a girl. Some boys had crushes on me. So I punched one of them. He shrugged. He still asks me to punch him again. I stared, baffled. He sighed. Those are all my secrets. What? You shared your secrets. I figured I should return the favor. That way you won't feel awkward. He said it with such calm sincerity that I had no idea how to respond. I mean, I'd only known Eric for less than a day, and here we were already swapping secrets in an elevator. Just as we reached the first floor and he was about to leave, he suddenly turned around and asked, Do you like the Milky Way? Huh. I blinked, confused. That prince galloping through the Milky Way you mentioned? Oh no, not that. The embarrassment hit me like a freight train. But he smiled, a gentle, springtime breeze of a smile. There's a galaxy-themed exhibit nearby. I designed the Milky Way section. Want to go see it together? There was something so naturally warm about Eric. Friendly.
Bright.
So I said yes. I mean, I had just finished work anyway. But as soon as I looked up, there he was, Alex, standing just feet away, his face bruised and swollen, glaring at us coldly. I expected him to explode again, to throw a fit like he usually did, demanding to know why I was with another man as if I still belonged to him. But instead, he just walked up calmly and said, Every day with you is something new. Still trying out options, huh? I looked away. I didn't want to speak to him. But then his voice softened, almost pleading. Victoria, could you choose me again? No, I couldn't. I was just about to leave with Eric. We were going to see the Milky Way, at least that was the plan. But suddenly the sight of Alex standing in front of me made me nauseous. He blocked my path and said, Victoria, I know you're jealous of Luna, but you've misunderstood. There's nothing romantic between us. His shadow loomed over me as he spoke, but instead of comforting me, every word he said made me feel heavier. Alex, please stop. Every time you try to justify yourself, it only strengthens my decision to divorce you. Even if he didn't love Luna romantically, his heart had always leaned toward her. That was the truth. I had always been second place. Maybe you haven't crossed the line with her, but does that mean I have to accept everything? Do you remember how many moments you missed because of her? Our wedding. Sophia's birth. Every time I needed you, you weren't there. I saw something flicker in Eric's eyes. Was it pity? I didn't want pity. I wasn't someone to be pitied. I looked at Alex, steady, composed. Let's get divorced. Let's set each other free. I begged him once, and now he was the one begging me. Victoria, I can change. Please don't stop loving me.
But why? Why now?
If he truly loved me, he wouldn't have left me behind so many times. Maybe it wasn't love. Maybe he just needed me. Maybe he depended on me in ways he didn't even understand, like how I always made his coffee just right, or how I handled things Luna never could. But it didn't matter anymore. Alex, I said firmly, I won't say this again. We're getting divorced. I turned away without looking back. I'll print you a new set of divorce papers. But he grabbed my wrist hard. It hurt. You're hurting her, Eric said calmly. Alex didn't even acknowledge him. Get lost, he growled. If I leave, who's going to explain the law to you? Eric replied, just as steady. You should know that if one spouse wants a divorce, it can be done. While Alex barely held back his fury, Eric remained calm, neither arrogant nor submissive. But the calmer he was, the more it enraged Alex. He finally released my wrist, his gaze falling on the red marks he'd left. He reached out, as if to touch me, but I pulled back. Is he your new boyfriend? Alex asked, his voice thick with jealousy. Don't be ridiculous.
But I saw it.
He was about to do something. I knew that motion was going to hit Eric. And Eric didn't deserve to be dragged into this. He only wanted to help. So I stepped in front of him. And just then, bang! A passerby bumped into me, hard. I lost my balance. Careful. Eric caught me by the waist, steadying me. Our faces ended up so close that when I turned my head, the corner of my lips brushed against his.
Warm. Soft.
Strange. Oh, came a voice. Clap, clap, clap. Applause erupted from the nearby crowd. I didn't know if they were impressed by Eric's reflexes or just enjoying the accidental kiss. Either way, the street now had its own little rom-com scene. We were surrounded, and Alex was being pushed farther and farther back by the crowd. From a distance, I saw his fists trembling in fury. Without a word, I grabbed Eric's hand and ran through the crowd with him. We made it to the Galaxy exhibit. Sorry about earlier, I said, genuinely. That was an accident. But Eric didn't seem bothered in the slightest. It's just lips, he shrugged. Nothing worth stressing over. I couldn't help but laugh. Inside the exhibit, under a sky of artificial stars, he proudly showed me his work. When I was a kid, my grandma used to tell me the story of the cowherd and the weaver girl. Altair, Vega, the Milky Way, the Magpie Bridge. Chinese mythology is so beautiful, so romantic. He had such wonder in his eyes. But I was allergic to anything romantic. Do you know the full story? I asked. The cowherd stole her clothes. She took away her ability to fly whenever she wanted. She had no choice but to stay on Earth. No one ever asks if she really wanted that. Everyone just calls it love and ignores what happened to her. Oh, Eric said quietly. I never thought of it that way. He looked genuinely stunned, a flush creeping up his cheeks. I guess it's just a myth, people interpret them differently. That's normal. I didn't want to make him uncomfortable, but he seemed to take it seriously.
You're not wrong, he said.
Being a fairy probably is easier than being someone's wife. He looked thoughtful, then added gently, if you hadn't pointed it out, I probably never would have seen it from a woman's point of view. I shook my head. There was nothing to apologize for. After we left the exhibit, I had to pick up Sophia. Just as I turned to go, Eric called out to me. Miss Victoria, he said softly, I wish you the freedom of the Weaver girl. And an early congratulations on your divorce. I froze. So many people had pitied me or offered their sympathy. But Eric, he was the first person who had ever wished me a happy divorce. I thought I'd never see him again. But then, just days later, the TV station announced a new celebrity interview series, this time featuring elite figures from various industries. The assignment was mine, so I made countless phone calls. But since I was still new to Los Angeles, I didn't have many connections. Eventually, with a little embarrassment, I asked Eric for help. He was handsome, professional, respectful, the kind of man every girl secretly liked. Thankfully, he said yes. When I told my boss, he was shocked. Isn't he super busy these days? He asked. Huh. I blinked. He agreed, so easily. Oh no. What if he was just being polite and didn't want to say no? I promised myself that after the recording, I'd thank him properly. So when my boss suggested having a backup plan, I refused. It felt disrespectful to Eric. But then the day of the shoot came, and he didn't show up on time. 15 minutes before we went live, I couldn't reach him. My boss exploded. You didn't prepare a backup? You think you're so confident, huh? You do know Eric's a world-class architect, right? He's designing landmarks. You think he's going to drop everything just for a local TV segment? I felt humiliated, frustrated, but not completely devastated. It wouldn't be the first time someone left me hanging. Alex had left me hanging for 5 years. Eric was just a kind acquaintance.
He didn't owe me anything.
Maybe he got busy. Maybe he forgot. I was trying to calm myself when a coworker suddenly rushed in. Eric's here just in time. But he's on crutches.
What?
Apparently, he had been hit by a bus while biking and fractured his leg. Why didn't you drive? I asked, stunned. I had a bad car accident 3 years ago, he said, still smiling like nothing had happened. I've been uneasy behind the wheel ever since. But it's fine, I'll be sitting the whole time for the interview anyway. I felt terrible. Honestly, in a situation like this, you could have just called. Everyone would have understood. He smiled again. But I didn't want to stand you up. That stopped me cold. You mean you didn't want to let me down? You're giving me a chance to be on TV. How could I not show respect? Then he blushed. You're lying, I said. You heard that fight with my ex. You knew how often he left me behind. You just wanted to make up for that, didn't you? He froze, looking caught. How did you know what I was thinking? Because you're an angel. From that moment on, I found myself drawn to this angel. I quietly followed his social media accounts. His posts were as warm as his personality clouds: birds, stray cats and dogs, little pieces of kindness in a chaotic world. I even looked him up online. Besides his impressive achievements, I found an old news story about him. One rainy day, someone had photographed him kneeling on the sidewalk, holding an umbrella over a stubborn cat who refused to move. The photo went viral for all the right reasons. Maybe he really was an angel. I was lost in that thought when my phone slipped from my hands. As I bent to pick it up, a large hand reached down and grabbed it first. I looked up. Alex. He smiled, fake, pleasant. What are you looking at? You seem so happy. Is it a photo of us? I didn't even bother replying.
Give me my phone, I said.
But before I could finish, his expression darkened. You're looking at him, aren't you? I yanked the phone out of his hand. And what if I am? What does it matter to you? Eric's account had already gone private, but on my screen now was something Alex had posted. Our wedding photo from 5 years ago. I didn't open it. I just deleted it. Pathetic, I muttered. And that made him snap. He grabbed both my arms and pinned me in place. What's pathetic? Him, he shouted. Tell me, Victoria, are you with him just to make me jealous? I pulled away. No, I said calmly. But I might be. Or maybe I'll date someone else. Either way, I'm not going to let you control the rest of my life.
His voice sharpened.
We still have a daughter. You can marry someone else, but Sophia stays with me. My heart dropped. I stared into his determined eyes. Sophia would never choose you, I said. What if I fight for her in court? He asked. Your family business moved overseas, but you still need raw materials from here. You wouldn't want that supply chain to vanish, would you? He thought he had me cornered. But he forgot that had a weakness too. I contacted Luna. Told her everything. How Alex was threatening me, using Sophia as leverage. To me, it was just a nuisance. But to Luna it was a nightmare. No way, she screamed over the phone. My uncle would never. You're lying. Cut the act, I said. Can you bring him back to the country or not? If Alex returned, Luna and I could both find peace. Then that night, I heard the news. Luna had tried to kill herself.
She was rushed to the ICU.
I knew it. I knew Alex would come back for her. Because to him, she mattered more than anything. More than me. More than Sophia. The next day, I picked up Sophia from school. Alex was there chatting happily with her teacher. Surprised to see me? He asked. You disgust me, I replied, not bothering to sugarcoat it. His smile vanished instantly. Because Sophia was there, I didn't start a scene. I'm taking her home, I said. Home, he repeated. Her home is in our country. That's where she belongs. His voice was soft, but every word carried a threat. Then he picked up Sophia. Princess, don't you want to come home with Daddy? I've got so many toys waiting for you. And when your vacation starts, we'll go to the desert. You want to see camels, right? I promise I'll spend more time with both of you. His eyes flicked toward me. I stayed silent. But I knew Sophia wouldn't go with him. Not anymore. I reached out my hand. Let's go, sweetheart. Sophia squirmed in his arms and reached for me. Daddy, I don't want to see camels anymore. Wherever Mommy is, that's home. Alex froze. What about Daddy? He asked. We have lots of rooms. You can live with us too if Mommy says it's okay. For the first time, Alex had no words. He just stood there, watching Sophia slip out of his arms and walk back to me. I felt like I had finally won. See, Alex, I said, you can't force this. His eyes darkened. Later, as we arrived home, Sophia called out excitedly, Mommy, there's a man at the door. Is he your friend? I looked up and there he was.
Eric.
Is he your boyfriend? Sophia whispered, eyes sparkling. Don't be nosy, I told her, gently nudging her inside.
And so?
I didn't get a chance to invite Eric in for tea. Sorry, my daughter can be loud sometimes. No, she's adorable. She looks a lot like you. His voice was gentle, but there was an awkwardness hanging between us. The tension lingered until I finally broke the silence. Did you come to talk about something? Not really, he said. I just wanted to let you know I am leaving for a business trip to Europe tomorrow. I'll be gone for a month. A month? That felt long. Why are you telling me this? I pressed my lips together, heart suddenly racing just a bit faster. And then hesitated, then finally spoke. When I get back, can I tell you a secret? A secret? The truth is, the day I came to your station, I fell for a girl named Victoria. It was love at first sight. I told him yes. To everything. And after that, I never saw Alex again. 1 month felt a little long, but Eric and I stayed in touch every day. My heart fluttered constantly. It felt like my first love. And maybe it was. I'd never really had a first love. I thought I had, back in high school. There'd been a fire at school, and I twisted my ankle trying to escape. I almost didn't make it out. But Alex carried me through the flames. I clung to his back like my life depended on it. That was the moment I thought I'd fallen in love. But time changes everything. The boy who once saved me from a fire, there was no trace of him left in the man Alex had become. Over the years, Alex tried everything to stop the divorce. He visited my brother only to get punched again. He went to my parents' house, but they didn't even let him in. He tried to cross paths with me at work. I was curious. Why was he so persistent? Even with Luna in critical condition, he refused to return to the country. His answer? Ridiculous. If I go back, I know I'll lose you forever. Finally, he understood. I wasn't the wife waiting at home anymore. But if you stay in LA forever, I won't mind. Are you sure? He added. You used to love me so much. That was the past, I said calmly over coffee. Alex, what kind of woman do you think I am?
Calm.
Gentle. Sensible, he answered quickly. But he was wrong. I'd changed a long time ago. Do you really think that? I asked. 5 years ago, the first time I saw Luna, I wanted to yank her hair and slap her. I thought she stole my husband. Back then, I was a bitter, desperate woman, angry and broken. I looked him in the eye. Do you think I'm pathetic too? Then I smiled. Let me go. I don't want to love you anymore. I just want to love myself. After that, Alex never looked for me again. But the divorce papers never came either. So we were stuck in a silent deadlock. He started following Sophia and me around, standing at a distance in amusement parks, quietly watching us during our walks. Just last night, he called me to explain Luna. Or at least he tried. Before I turned 10, I lived in an orphanage. My real father was a useless drifter who broke my mother's heart. If she'd had other children, she wouldn't have raised me either. The first time I met Luna, she called me Dad. I was only 20. It was ridiculous, but it reminded me of my own father. So I took her and raised her, fully committed. I wanted my parents to see that I wasn't him. He had adopted Luna out of revenge. But revenge for what? Exactly? Alex, I said coldly. Your childhood pain is not an excuse to hurt others. Your parents failed you. But Sophia and I didn't. I hung up. After that, he didn't call again. But he still followed us like a ghost.
Mom, look.
A bunny. Sophia suddenly let go of my hand, her little legs rushing forward. Sophia. A car sped toward her, honking violently. I ran with everything I had. But someone reached her first. Alex. He threw himself in front of the car, wrapped his arms around Sophia and took the full impact. He collapsed. Unconscious. His mother flew to Los Angeles. She looked at her son, pale and motionless in that hospital bed, with a cold, unreadable expression. But she came with demands. Take the child. Return to our country with Alex. If I refused, she'd cut off the raw material supply to my family's business. I smiled. Like mother, like son. I didn't owe Alex anything. Sophia was his daughter. Of course, he should have saved her. And if he hadn't, I would have. But I didn't want to drag my family down with me.
Fine.
I'll go. I nodded. His mother scoffed. Useless boy, she muttered. If he had done this from the start, I wouldn't have given your family 3 years of supply. And just like that, my heart sank again. Alex, what were you really thinking all this time? I didn't tell my parents about my mother-in-law's threat. I simply insisted on going back. But I could tell they suspected something. My parents and brother were furious. Even without their supply chain, we're not going bankrupt, they argued. But I stood firm. Sure, we wouldn't collapse, but it would hurt. And I never contributed much to the family business. For once, let me make a sacrifice. I negotiated with Alex's family. I would accompany him home with Sophia for 1 year. After that, he had to sign the divorce papers and give me full custody. But at the airport, a strange unease washed over me. Eric was returning to LA tomorrow. Would he be sad when he didn't find me there? I wanted to leave him something. A note. A message. Anything. But maybe we weren't meant to be. Why hold him back? 3 months after we returned, Alex finally woke up. But he had lost his memory. He didn't recognize anyone except me. Victoria, he called. Call me Victoria, I corrected. No way. You're my wife. Who calls their wife by her full name? He grinned. After recovering, he seemed like a completely different man. When I was around, he acted like a devoted husband. Attentive. Soft-spoken. Loving. It was surreal. He didn't change wives, but he became the model husband. Luna tried to visit him several times but was turned away. Because Alex didn't remember her. She didn't believe it. She was convinced he was faking. And to prove her point, in a burst of rage she married one of Alex's most infamous playboy friends. Just like that, she became the wife of a man known for scandal and chaos. And yet, Alex remained unmoved even after Luna married someone else. He didn't interfere. Instead, he sent her an expensive gift. The more I saw him like this, the more I felt it. Alex's heart was cold. It was all fake. How could he lose his memory but only remember Sophia and me? He didn't even remember Sophia's birthday. And yet, every day, he played the part of a perfect husband and doting father. Every night, after putting Sophia to sleep, he'd come to my room. I would retreat to the study. We kept our distance. But tonight, he blocked my way. Victoria, can I stay with you tonight? I don't feel well. You're still pretending. I stared at him, numb. Alex, how long did you think you could keep up this act? But the next second, he suddenly lifted me into his arms and carried me to the bed, pressing his body against mine. Alex. I panicked, instinctively struggling. But he didn't move, his voice deep and close to my ear. Victoria, stop pushing me away. Let's be okay again. Please. Put me down first. No, get off me. Back then, when we fought, didn't we always make up like this? His fingers found the hidden clasp on my shirt. But just before he went too far, he froze. Because I whispered a name, Eric. It was the first time I had said his name out loud since leaving Los Angeles. Alex sat up slowly, expression unreadable. You're still thinking about him? He asked. I guess I haven't been good enough. He said it softly, and for once, he didn't force me. After that, he tried even harder. Tried to make me smile. But the truth, wasn't Sophia could make me smile anymore. Later, I heard rumors about Luna. The girl I once despised was now living a nightmare. Her husband had countless lovers. Her mother-in-law hated her. She tried to reach out to Alex for help, but he wouldn't even open the door. Eventually, she got kicked out of the house for flirting with a younger man at a bar. Alex didn't say much. Just one line. She has hands and feet. She can take care of herself.
Oh.
So Alex always knew she had hands and feet. That realization didn't make me feel better, it made me angrier. Luna had her freedom. I never did. 1 year passed. Quietly, swiftly. But Alex and his family seemed to have conveniently forgotten our agreement. They refused to let me leave with Sophia. That day, while deep in thought, I was peeling fruit when Alex came home. The first thing he saw was blood dripping from my hand. His face went pale. Victoria. Who told you to hurt yourself? But it wasn't real. I had cut my wrist, but not deep enough. Just enough to scare him. Sometimes to get what you want, you have to pay a price. And finally I received the divorce papers. Victoria, I'm letting you go, he whispered.
Leave.
Take Sophia with you. His back was turned. His voice hoarse. Was he crying? I didn't care. I was finally free. Victoria, congratulations on your divorce. Epilogue. Alex stood by the window, watching Victoria and their daughter walk away. Even their silhouettes were filled with light and laughter. Were they really that happy without him?
Yes.
They were. He had once been a fool, but he thought he'd changed. Victoria used to be the girl he carried out of the fire. The girl whose eyes were filled with love for him. But time had passed. That girl had grown. She became kind, wise, and strong. Everything in their home had been arranged by her. Even the soft scent of aromatherapy was her doing. This had been his only real home. Raised in an orphanage, he had nothing. And when he returned to his birth parents, they meant even less. The only person who ever gave him a home was her. But she was gone now, and she would never come back. The thought burned through his chest. He coughed up blood. Meanwhile, Victoria traveled the world with Sophia. Eventually, they returned to Los Angeles. One afternoon, she was out walking her dog and found herself wandering into a college campus. In truth, it wasn't accidental. She had been walking around this university for days, wearing a hat and a mask, hiding like someone with something to lose. She wanted to see someone. But she was afraid. Today she saw him. In front of the library, standing like a painting brought to life, was Eric. He held a book in his hands, looking as graceful as ever. A red-headed student nervously approached him. "Professor, my friend just broke up with his girlfriend, so I can't come to class." "Broke up?" Eric's expression dimmed. Why'd they break up? Did the girl go back to her ex? My heart twisted at the sound of his voice. "Eric, even now, you make me want to laugh and cry at the same time. No more hiding." I walked up and tapped him on the shoulder.
"Hi," I said.
"Let's meet again. This time I'm a free weaver girl." The moment he turned around, I saw galaxies in his eyes, shining, bright, infinite. "Eric, this time it's my turn to win you over."